Welcome back to Building Your Empire Through Real Estate. I am your host, Alexis, and I have a very special guest with us today, Victoria Silverman. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
I'm excited you're here as well, and I know our listeners will be too. I'm just excited to have you share some golden tips, tricks, and nuggets with those that are listening today.
I'm ready. I'm ready to share.
For those listening, Victoria Silverman is the team leader of Keller Williams South Sound in Washington. Since stepping into the role in January of 2024, she is focused on growing the market center through relationship-driven recruiting, agent development, and building a culture centered on accountability, opportunity, and long-term success. Victoria is passionate about helping agents build sustainable businesses while creating an environment where people feel genuinely supported, challenged, and empowered to grow. She believes the strongest leaders earn influence through consistency, trust, and meaningful conversations, not just titles alone. Victoria has been recognized as one of the top recruiting team leaders in the Keller Williams Northwest region. Under her leadership, Keller Williams South Sound has also ranked among the top 10 market centers in the Northwest region for growth overall. She is committed to developing future leaders, coaching agents to reach their potential, and building a profitable, people-first organization that creates lasting impact. Victoria, welcome.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction.
Just listening about how great we are, right?
Right.
Yeah, awesome. So you've been in the role since January 2024. Talk to the listeners about what you did previously.
So previously, I've always been within real estate recruiting, and I actually dabbled in a bit of mortgage recruiting as well. I've been doing it for, in total, 6 years, with Keller Williams for 2.5 years. And then with Washington First Mortgage up in Bellevue for a little over a year. So I've always had a passion of recruiting, and I also don't really like that word. I love giving people opportunity with whatever that looks like for them. And I knew the lending side of it wasn't for me. I love the real estate side of it. So I had gotten an opportunity to be the team leader for this Keller Williams South Sound office, and I was ecstatic, and I immediately jumped in, and I was ready to go. This is something that I was super passionate about doing ever since I started within the real estate industry, and then especially the recruiting industry. Just because there's so many different routes and avenues that you can go down that I feel like people don't really know or talk about. So I knew that this was the path that I wanted to go down.
When you say the recruiting side or the attracting side wasn't for you on the lending, what made the real estate side different? What attracted you to it more? How was it different?
I think lenders and real estate brokers have two different personality styles and traits, and just the way that they operate on a day-to-day basis. Lending is more of the back end side of things, while real estate is that forward-facing, networking, talking, extroverted side. And that is what I had connected with. As much as I like to say that I'm the most introverted extrovert as they get, I lean more towards real estate brokers 100% of the time. So I loved it. I loved working with lenders, and I have met some incredible people and some, relationships that I will have forever. But real estate's my thing.
I totally agree in terms of the different personality styles, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. Just how they go about day to day, right? And nothing wrong or better with either or. It's just, like you said, it's different.
Right. Yeah, it's just how somebody's wired.
Once you stepped into the team leader role, you've helped the market center grow from 88 agents to over 110 while maintaining a positive net growth and positioning for the office among the top 10 market centers, Keller Williams market centers in the Pacific Northwest. What is something that you do consistently that has gotten you to this place with a positive net growth?
Something that I think that I've done consistently is staying relentlessly curious. And I know what I know, and I also know that there's so much more for me to know. So I'm constantly learning from people around me, my general manager, my operating principal, other team leaders, my own agents within the market center. I think everyone. And everyone has something to teach you as long as you're willing to listen. And it was actually one of the Keller Williams personal perspectives. It was the fourth one, being learning based, that had shifted my mindset on this. It teaches you just to ask yourself if I'm doing this for knowing's sake or if I'm kind of doing this for doing sake. And I think all of us have gone to incredible classes, have taken pages of notes and walked away feeling super, super motivated. And then it feels overwhelming trying to implement all of those notes. So it kind of ends up in a drawer when it's the execution part that is what creates the results long term. So I think a combination of staying learning based while being willing to execute has probably been one of the biggest contributors to where my market center is at today, I would say.
I always say, is it a people problem or an execution problem?
Yes, yeah.
Right. Or I guess you could throw in a third, or is it a knowledge problem? Right. But once you teach somebody what they didn't know and you give them the resources, if they're still choosing not to do anything with it, I believe it's an execution problem. And we see that across the board, right? Whether it's fear of failure or fear of success, even there is a gap between knowledge and execution, which I love. Talk to me about what you feel like you execute on well.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that I do, gain from all the classes that I have, and it is difficult to kind of pick and choose what I want to implement and execute on right away, just because I know everything's not going to be perfect for my market center in particular. But things that I do feel like I execute well on is following the model. I'm a super results driven person, so models and systems, recruiting, retention, but profitability as well. I think profitability and recruiting is ultimately the same conversation at the end of the day, because we can be adding agents, but if the back door is not tightened up, then we're kind of just staying in the same place. So if anything really relates within those 4 to 5 needle moving activities that I can implement right away, I'm definitely going to be executing on those first and foremost. And then I'm always open to new ideas and, implementing other things, but I have to see the results first before I kind of add on anything new into it.
When you lead with creativity, it's when things start to get unstable, right?
Uh-huh.
I couldn't agree more. So for those that are listening right now, what would be the 3 things you do on a consistent basis to turn around owner profit from mass losses every month to being recognized as one of the more profitable market centers in the region?
Yeah, definitely. When I became team leader, I inherited a market center that was operating at a loss, and the ownership was taking significant losses year over year. And it was just clear that if we wanted to build something sustainable, we couldn't just focus on adding agents. We had to focus on tightening up expenses and finances as well. So one of the things I always tell our agents is that I'm so focused on building a profitable market center, because I know if we reach those goals, it means our agents are reaching theirs. Like if our market center is profitable, it's usually because our agents are succeeding first. They're selling more homes, they're growing their businesses, they're creating better lives for themselves and their families. And then profit is just a byproduct of agents winning, and it gives us the ability to then continue investing back into them. But I think what contributed to that is being willing just to put my head down and do the work and do the dang thing, make the phone calls, do the follow-ups, hold the appointments, have the conversation. I think doing the right work is what is moving the needle forward. Just staying intentional with recruiting, finances, following the model, using the systems, doing the work that actually moves the needle forward. Slowly built up the market center. In 2025, we were at sustaining it, and now we're in a year where now we just have to grow it. We got to break through that ceiling because we've already done the foundational piece in 2025. So I think 2026 is and was the best year, and I'm excited for 2027 to see really where this market center could go.
Success leaves clues,
Mm-hmm.
and success is kind of boring, right? Where it is just
Right.
it is doing the foundational things consistently, time on task over time.
It's not one thing or one conversation that had like completely shifted my mindset. It's just doing the things hundreds of times every single day, consistency.
Yeah. And talk to me about something that you do, with frequency, consistently, like you said, to close that back door. Tell me what you've implemented to retain your people and keep them happy outside of obviously helping them grow their business.
I think really just listening and having conversations with every single one of my agents. I think to me, success through my lens was different than every other agent in my market center. So they actually have really taught me what success looks like, because maybe an agent wants to be a mega agent and build out a team, and then the other one just wants to do 5 to 10 transactions a year and have enough time to be spending time with their family. And I think really understanding people's motivation and understanding people's why is how that back door, I guess, has been closed, is really listening to each and every person and their wants and needs within it. And I mean, I also keep track of the turnover in real estate is obviously going to be there. There's things that are going to be uncontrollable, but I look at the numbers. Every agent that leaves, I see if it's an uncontrollable situation, as far as, are they just getting out of the business, retiring, moving out of state, or are they going to a different brokerage because our value proposition isn't what they had seemed. And I know Keller Williams is not going to be for everybody, but I do know that I feel like we have the best value proposition out of all of them. Out of all of them, only 3 of them have gone to other brokerages.
Yeah. What is a piece of advice that you've gotten in this role that you can absolutely not live without?
I've received great advice from so many leaders, but if I had to narrow it down to one, I think it's one of Gary Keller's quotes, and I had heard about it when I had gone to family reunion. And it was, leadership is teaching people how to think. I think that's what it is verbatim. And this one was a challenge for me to truly understand, and I don't even think I fully understood it either until I started working with my market center investor, Phil Harlan, more. Phil rarely gives me the answer whenever I ask him a question. Instead, he'll ask me a question or just give me a different perspective that completely changes the way I think about the situation. And at first, I think it would frustrate me so much because all I wanted was the answer. But over time, I realized he wasn't trying to solve my problems. He was teaching me how to think through them. So now, whether that's recruiting or I'm coaching agents or I'm working with my leadership team, I try to never answer the question, and I try to ask better questions or challenge their perspective, to take them out of that chaos mindset and to kind of teach them how to think. Phil, he had told me one day, and I don't know if I can remember this quote verbatim, but he had told me one day, if I only give someone an answer, I solve today's problem, but if I can teach them how to think, I solve tomorrow's problem too. And that has completely stuck with me, and that's, I feel like, the definition of influence at the end of the day. So that would be the piece of advice, is leadership is teaching people how to think. And Phil's quote, I won't try to repeat it one more time, but if I give someone an answer, I'm only fixing today's problem, but if I can teach them how to think, then I can fix tomorrow's problem too. So that has ultimately stuck with me throughout my 2.5 years so far that I've been with Keller Williams, and just how I think about, coaching and consulting, and I take it back to my personal life as well, and feel like that makes a bigger impact than just giving somebody an answer at the end of the day. So that would be my piece of advice.
most of the time we have people coming to us looking for answers constantly.
Right.
Right. And it's hard to slow down to get them to think, to get those around you that you care about, that you want to see grow, think. Because usually we're all moving at a very quick pace. And it's like, here's the answer. It's even a good reminder for me. Slowing down to teach people how to think is really the ultimate, like you said, leverage in terms of leadership skills.
I definitely thought when I stepped into this role that being a good leader was knowing all of the answers, and that from working with Phil and being with, being at family reunion and listening to Gary Keller, like that had completely trumped everything that I thought being a good leader was. So that has, been the thing that stuck with me.
It actually kind of coincides with one of my biggest pieces of advice or quote that has helped shape me in this industry, right? And how I do business is it's be the librarian, not the library.
Yes.
It's like you don't need to know everything. And if you don't, it's like I can point you in the direction to help you solve it. I think what you said is super important. And a lot of listeners, I'm sure, can relate to that, which is there's been a time in a leadership role, whether it's this one or another one, that you thought, and it may have even held you back, that you thought you needed to know everything, right? And it turns out that it could not be farther from the truth.
100%. Yeah, I live by that, and I love that quote as well.
Tell me what the biggest challenge you've had in this role, and talk to us about how you've overcome it.
One of the biggest challenges, I've had a few challenges within this role, I'm not gonna lie, but one of the biggest challenges that I've had to overcome is getting comfortable with holding people accountable while still leading with my heart and keeping a good culture. As team leaders, we're consistently making decisions that impact people we genuinely care about. And early on, like I said, I thought being a good leader was giving people more grace, giving them more chances, maybe protecting them from having a difficult conversation or a hard conversation. But over time, I've come to realize that it wasn't serving them, nor is it really serving me. But as TLs, we carry the weight of those decisions because we want to do what's right for the individual and the organization. And maybe those answers aren't always the same. So one question I've asked myself that's really helped me is, what is the most loving and responsible decision for the long-term health of this person and the market center? And that question has made hard decisions clearer. But it doesn't make them any easier than having it. And I'd still say that is one of the biggest areas of growth for me, and I think it will always be. But having accountability while still leading with my heart is something I'm still growing in, even to this day.
So, covering so much ground. I hope that those listeners are, because so many golden nuggets and so much value. With turning around a market center, like any business, you really ultimately have to implement systems, right? Where there likely wasn't any, to begin with. And I know that's a challenge, right? Whether it's marketing, whether it's automations, whether it's onboarding. With turning the market center around, what would you say the biggest system drivers that you can attribute to your recruiting and growth results are?
System drivers. We have a lot of systems in place right now, but a lot of the credit I would have to give to is to my ASC, my agent services coordinator, Lindsay, because she has taken true ownership over that role and the new agent recruiting pipeline. She hosts an introduction to real estate Zoom call twice a week. So before someone even enrolls in coursework, they understand what they're getting themselves into. And then once they decide to move forward in the coursework, she helps them get enrolled with staying in relationships throughout the coursework, following up consistently, and kind of just walking alongside them all the way until they pass their exam. And then that's when I kind of step in and take over. And then she'll do all the onboarding and take them from there. So it's really allowed me to stay focused on recruiting producing agents and helping build those relationships while still knowing the newer agents are being taken care of because Lindsay owns that process start to finish. And because of that, we've built a great recruiting pipeline that's consistent and scalable, and centered around relationships. But systems as a whole, I think you have to have a good person in all the right seats of the bus in order to have the systems work how they're supposed to and have everybody firing on all cylinders how they're supposed to. And I'm so lucky that I do have Lindsay that has taken over ownership of that role. I mean, I think I definitely didn't come into the market center wanting to carry the entire thing on my back. So developing a leader like Lindsay and me leveraging some stuff off, but she's wanting the opportunity to, so I can focus on perfecting these systems over here. Like, I think when everything starts working, it's like a very well oiled, greased machine, and everything is just moving exactly how it's supposed to. And I give a lot of credit to the systems that we do use, but also just to the people in those roles making it even possible, you know? Yes, absolutely. I mean, if there's no person to run it, then there's no system to even have in place.
As we round out our call today, Victoria,
Yes.
I've got to ask, as I always do at the end of these, what is a piece of advice that you'd love to give our listeners that you just want to leave them with?
I could give one piece of advice. It would be to build people before you build numbers. Our job isn't just to grow a market center, it's to grow people and to invest in people before you start expecting results. Growth that lasts is rarely built overnight. It's built through consistency, and it's built through trust, and it's built through accountability. And like I said at the beginning, 100 of small decisions made on a daily basis every single day. You know, at the end of the day, a market center is nothing without its agents. So if every agent decided to leave tomorrow, I wouldn't have a market center to run. So if we consistently build people well, they'll build the market center well. That would then just be a byproduct of building incredible leaders. So I think it starts with people first. I think that's always been my thing, but people first.
Victoria, thank you so much. You are just a wealth of knowledge. Thank you. I just
Of
appreciate
course.
you. I'm sure that some of our listeners are going to want more and follow you. Where can our listeners find you?
So I do have an Instagram. It is Victoria, VICTORIIA.KW. And I don't do social media too much. Lindsay is our social media gal, but that's where to find me and DM me. And I'd love to answer any other questions if anybody else has any, but that would be the place, my go-to.
You have been amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to be on here.